The former president Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has been grabbing headlines because he made certain statements that shocked everyone, including the government. Immediately, his friends were sworn in as part of the cabinet in Ruto's government. Uhuru Kenyatta urged Gen Zs to stand up for their rights, a statement that many interpreted to mean that he was telling Gen Zs to go back to the streets. You know very well that if there is something that gives William Ruto sleepless nights, is any imagination that Gen Zs can go back to the street. After the June protest, the event that took place in June last year, that resulted in very pathetic events. People were killed, some were abducted, others have been missing to date. Gen Zs stormed parliament, I think, for the first time in the history of Kenya. So when this statement came from the former president, after they had what seems to be a handshake between them, a working relationship, people are like, what exactly is happening?
Shida ya watu siku hizi, everybody ana sijui mumeogopeshwa, sijui even you gena, naona rudi uingie hii majenzi, nyinyi ndio the story of the future. Fight for your rights bwana, sio kukakaa hapo wakaa hapo mambo mali yenu ichukuliwe na nini, mumeitolea jasho. Msikubali, pambaneni, muhakikishe mumepata haki yenu. Mnasikia nyinyi? Sio kukaa hapo tu, kuna kitu inadumu.
It was not going to take long before the government brigade attacked or answered Uhuru Kenyatta. And we've been waiting. Well, of course, yesterday we saw Eden Duale, who indirectly answered Uhuru Kenyatta, telling Uhuru Kenyatta that, you don't need to incite our children. You're a parent, you're a former president. But today was the main day because the Kenya Kwanza regime has developed a penchant for washing their dirty linens, or if they want to answer someone, their opponent, they will wait to do that in the holiest of the holy places, and that will be the pulpit. Today, being a Sunday, everyone was waiting to see if William Ruto was going to answer Uhuru Kenyatta. And he didn't fail. Only this time, he didn't, like Duale did, he didn't confront Uhuru directly, but he spoke in what might many feel is a parable, just talking to people generally that our children need to be guided and not be incited.
Kama wazazi, kama serikali, kama viongozi, tusiwapiganishe watoto wetu. These young people of Kenya, they don't need violence. They don't need confrontation. They want opportunities. They want jobs. They want opportunity to engage in business. That is what we should be doing as leaders, instead of inciting them to violence, to destruction, and many things that will not solve their problem and will not solve the problem of our country. Kwa hivyo, mimi nawauliza vijana wa Mount Elgon, kuna nafasi pale kwa ICT Hub, kuna nafasi pale kwa soko, kuna nafasi katika mpango yetu ya housing, kuna nafasi katika county aggregation and industrial park, kuna nafasi ya labor migration. Jipange na hizo nafasi na ndio maisha yako itasonga mbele. That is what we must do. Tunaelewana jameni? Hiyo ndio mpango yetu na mimi nataka niwahakikishie.
When Uhuru Kenyatta spoke, there were different interpretations to his statement. Some were saying that maybe he was speaking to the Mount Kenya youth. But since he didn't specify, many said he was talking to the general public, all Gen Zs in Kenya. And when I watched Uhuru Kenyatta, I concluded that number one, it was William Ruto who sought for the handshake that they did in Ichaweri. Uhuru Kenyatta never wanted that handshake. That's why he's at liberty. He can speak anything he wants. I also concluded that there must have been pressure from his supporters, especially from Mount Kenya. Because I remember they told William Ruto, even if you resuscitate the senior Kenyatta, we will not board. So there seems to be pressure from Mount Kenya that Uhuru Kenyatta heeded to. I also concluded that Uhuru has nothing to lose. Uhuru has done his 2 terms. So who has got pressure here? It is William Ruto is under pressure because he wants to complete his first term and then go for a second term. So his statement, came at a time when William Ruto never expected. But many people are also asking, how serious are the statements? Can they lead to anything? For William Ruto to take his time to respond to such statements, then you know very well they mean a lot. And what is at stake? Why would William Ruto respond to Uhuru Kenyatta? One, William Ruto is trying hard to quell tempers in Mount Kenya. That is, of course, why he went for that handshake. And so, for Uhuru Kenyatta to speak, those words get into the already Gen Zs in Central or Mount Kenya were already mad, sick and tired of William Ruto after their son was ousted and Rigathi Gachagua has been given this sympathy, they follow him. So when Uhuru Kenyatta speaks, then those words get directly into their hearts, and that will even trigger more rebellion from Mount Kenya. Because William Ruto, as we speak, he has not gone for the homecoming event of Kithure Kindiki. That the ground is very hostile and volatile at the same time. So he wanted Uhuru to help him calm the tempers, but Uhuru makes statements that will aggravate matters. That is why he has to answer. The statements give Gachagua more power because you heard the former Attorney General JB Muturi saying my son was abducted. I have said it, and I'm ready to face the consequences. Meaning that Mount Kenya leaders are very ready. So if Uhuru Kenyatta speaks like that, it gives Gachagua more weight. Many people interpret it that even Uhuru Kenyatta is not with William Ruto. He supports Gachagua. He supports our cause. He's part of the rebellion. And that is why Ruto fears it. William Ruto also understands that he has not taken into consideration the factors that led Gen Zs to the street. Gen Zs went to the street to resist the finance bill, but that was just a trigger. That was just a trigger. There were a lot of underlying causes. That was just a disease that maybe would say that would kill someone, but there were underlying diseases, the cost of living and all that. So he went for a makeshift solution. He didn't go for a permanent solution. So he understands very well that if Uhuru Kenyatta would make such statements, and Gen Zs would feel that, because he even told them tuko nyuma yenu, that would trigger. At this time round, let me tell you, if Gen Zs would go to the street, if they would despise Raila, despise Ruto, and let's say even to a large extent they despise Gachagua, they despise Uhuru Kenyatta, they say we are now real Gen Zs, tribeless, leaderless, and even partyless. I can assure you it will not mean well for William Ruto. So William Ruto understands that those statements, if left unchecked, can really cause a serious damage to his government because he has not implemented what Gen Zs wanted. The finance bill is back through the back door. They were signed. Mbadi brought them. The finance, I don't know, finance bill amendment or something. Several of them were brought back. Murkomen and Chirchir and other members of the cabinet who Gen Zs had rejected are back into the cabinet. There are a lot of abductions taking place. So Ruto knows very well that he's sitting at a very precarious moment, and that is why he had to react to Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember, Gen Zs, for the first time, William Ruto, whom we know to be a very tough man, succumbed to their pressure, dissolved the cabinet, said, I'm not going to sign the Finance Bill 2024. So he knows very well that those statements cannot be taken lightly. Even from where I sit, I thought they will assume. And I wanted to know how weighty the statements are after listening to them. For William Ruto himself to come out and speak, then it means they understand. They understand that the statement from the former president will trigger a very bitter reaction. I don't know what to think, ladies and gentlemen.